Hey everyone, I'm standing here with Chris Sky. We're at a rally in Vancouver. Now, you're quite an experienced rally man. I am not. I'm new to this game, right? I'm new to this.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. But you're legendary. And I want to know, because I don't know, like, how did you get started doing this? Or is it a long, oh, your wife?
It's right there. Long story short, that beautiful woman right there.
Yeah.
Well, I never wanted to get involved. We had a really good life way before COVID. We were already well known on Instagram, but for traveling around the world and just like having a good time.
Oh.
And so when it all happened, we were actually in Italy for her birthday, right when they locked down Venice. So we were there, ground zero, February 27th, 2020, which is her birthday, February 27th. So we landed in Venice for Carnival for her birthday. And the day that we landed, it was supposed to be the last day of Carnival, the biggest day of the party, was the first time in the history of Carnival from like the 1700s where they canceled it. So she was heartbroken. And I was trying to figure out something else to do for her birthday because they canceled Carnival. And in the meantime, they started talking about locking down Venice. So she said we had to escape. So we escaped to Florence, spent her birthday in Florence, and then they started talking about locking down Italy. So we left Italy. We ended up spending a little bit of time in Netherlands and France before coming back to Canada. As soon as I got back to Canada, I tried to tell everybody, because we had already about 100,000 followers on Instagram, like, they're going to lock everybody down in Canada, get ready for it. And everyone thought we were crazy. I'm like, well, I just came from multiple countries that they locked down, so we're going to be next. And so we were worried they were going to close down businesses and things like that.
Can I ask you this? Because I've never spoken to anyone from Italy, but Italy was the first place that exploded with COVID. It got there and exploded. What did you think when that happened? Were you like, what did you think was going on?
It was sheer propaganda. Because
you even thought that at the time?
100%, because we had people calling us constantly from Canada, because the Canadian and American news were talking about this crazy pandemic and people dropping left, right, and center in Venice. And we were right there in the so-called heart of the pandemic, and we're walking around. I'm at the gym training. Me and my wife are going to the Gucci store and going to eat lunch and dinner. Everything was fine for us. And then even when we went to the south in Italy, in Florence, which isn't even that far south, just a couple hours, it was completely fine. They talked about one case of COVID when we were in Florence, and we went to nightclubs, we went to everywhere. It was completely open. Then even by the time we got back to Netherlands and France, the only thing closed in France when we got there was the Louvre.
Yeah.
Everything else was open. Everything. So
you saw through this right away.
Right away. And that's why when I came back, I was worried about how dangerous it was, because I knew it was fake. Right from the start. I knew it was being at least over-exaggerated. Like, they were showing people videos of the people falling down in China and stuff, scaring the hell out of people. And then they're saying the same things about Italy, but I was there, so I knew it was a lie. So when we came back, we saw a flyer for a protest at Queen's Park. I've never even voted in my life, so I'm not political. I hate politics. I hate all politicians. I don't trust any of them, and I want that on the record. But we decided we're going to go to this protest at Queen's Park because we've got to tell everybody. And when we went there, it was just a ragtag crew of people, and the mainstream media showed up, and I was shocked because I didn't think they'd want to cover it, right? Because they'd want to sweep it under the rug. But then I realized they were there because they could make it look bad. They could make it look like that fringe minority, because that's what it was at the time. So I saw CTV and CBC there, and they're filming people with like weird haircuts and really offensive signs and stuff like that to try to make us look bad. So I got pissed off. I literally grabbed the camera and swung it towards me, and I just ranted. I said, why don't you talk to someone that actually has something to say? And I did a rant, and all the people around heard him, like, oh my God, you know what you're talking about, you should speak. And I said, no way.
Oh, and that's what catapulted you.
No, that's not, because they tried to make me, and I said, no way in hell, because I already knew that meant the government's going to target me, target my business, the media is going to destroy me, I'm going to end up in jail 1,000,000 times, and I've been arrested 19 times in the last 19 months. So I already knew what that...
One a month.
Exactly. And so I knew that path would lead that way, and I didn't want that. I just wanted to be left alone. Our life was great. I had a good career, good job, wonderful family. So I, like everybody else, I just wanted to be left alone. But then she is the one that told me, my wife, by the way, yeah, Jennifer, she said, basically, if you don't speak, everything that happens is going to be your fault.
Oh, no pressure.
No, you get the guilt trip that only a wife can give you. So that's why I started speaking, and then,
look at you.
Well, the first time I spoke, I noticed that people seemed to hang on every single word I said. And I noticed that I can read something and I retain information. I never have to write anything down. I don't even have to think about what I'm going to say when I speak. I just I treat every crowd differently. Every crowd is like an entity, and you can read the energy, and I know what they need to hear. In the NYMO last year, I knew they needed to get reamed, so I ripped them a new asshole, I'm not going to lie. But it worked out very well. After they stayed for a rally, we ended up going to the Canadian Tire with even more people that were at the rally, and I was invited back to speak in the NYMO just last week, so obviously it went down well.
In Calgary yesterday as to get an interlocutory injunction against the Saturday protest march. So it is now illegal to protest in the city of Calgary.
For another event one day, but like, I'm not here to take over your movement. I'm here to just make your movement more cohesive so it's more effective. There's a reason why BC has worse restrictions than everywhere else. They have the most divided protest movement and the most compliant population. And that's what needs to change. And that's what I came here to change.
And you know what? You are making changes. You are a man that makes changes. And you are a man speaking up for what's right. And I admire you.
Thank you.
So
and I admire you for actually getting up and leaving the fake news because
well, they
it's
threw
horrible.
me out.
Well, they threw you out for it because you had a little bit of candidity and integrity.
I did.
So
I did.
There's nothing to be ashamed about there. Because that's what a journalist is supposed to be. A journalist is supposed to be able to deliver the facts so that people can determine the truth for themselves. It's not supposed to be a subversive movement that gets paid by the government to placate the population with propaganda and lies.
Yeah.
So
And that's
anybody,
what happened, yeah.
it's exactly what it's become.
Yeah. And so, listen, you and I will go forward along with everybody here because we're all in this together and we're going to make changes together.
100%. And that's the only way we can.
You keep doing it.
I won't stop. Pleasure. Thank you.
So much. Okay, take care.
Bye.
Chris Guy, everybody. Chris Guy. Thank you.